The first to bring you the hottest DJ gear on the planet. We are agiprodj.com.
It's DJ Ty from agiprodj.com. Super excited to bring you our first of many videos on the brand new Pioneer DDJ-SX. What we're shooting today is an overview video where we're going to cover most of the prominent features, the build of the controller. We're going to do some more separate later on covering the effects and some more specific questions that people have asked. Also, after the overview, we're going to answer a couple of very frequently asked questions that people have wanted to know before the SX was launched, and we now have those answers for you, so make sure you stick through the overview. So let's go ahead and take a closer look, all right? So this is the DDJ-SX. It's a typical controller layout. One thing to note, people have asked about the build quality. It is a metal top face and side. It is plastic underneath, but it is definitely a better construction than some other controllers that are out there. So it is metal top. It looks like a Pioneer. It feels like a Pioneer. The center section is a 4-channel mixer. It is a standalone audio mixer, as well as being able to control up to 4 decks on the software. You've got trim controls for each one of the decks. High, mid, and low 3-band EQ. These are infinite kill EQs, and we'll go ahead and show you that one right now, so what that actually means. We'll get into the track a little bit. So they are infinite kills. Somebody had asked that the top plate said negative 26 dB on it, but it is indeed, it should have actually said negative infinity. So they are infinite kills on the controller. You have built-in hardware filter, so it's a low-pass, high-pass filter that's actually built into the controller. Bring our EQs back up. So these are completely independent of any of the effects that are built into the Serato DJ software. This is a filter that's available on all 4 channels for both software and audio input on those. Cue controls for all 4 decks, plus you have a master cue. Booth level out, so it does have booth out, and we're going to go ahead and cover the back panel in a little bit. And then you have your headphone mix, so you can mix between cue and master. And then we'll go back to the front panel later on, but your headphone volume is down here on the front, and that's a push-in button. So that is the mixer section. You've got master outs. LED for the master is always on, plus you have individual LED readouts, gain readout for each one of the channels, which is really nice. So you've got that ability to preview your gain structure before you mix, which is really important. Some other controllers out there don't have that. You basically have this shared LED readout for the gain structure, and that's no good. Up here at the top, you have transport controls, basically transport within the software. So as I spin this dial, you can see you can scroll up and down through your playlists. A press in on it switches over to your playlists and then switches back. So it's basically switches panes every time you touch them. And then let's say I pick a track, then I can press load. That track's automatically loaded. So that is that section of the mixer. Also on each channel you have the ability to select whether you're going to use Effects Bank 1 or Effects Bank 2, or you can have both of them applied to each one of those decks. Again, we're going to cover the effects section in a little more detail later on. Down here to the bottom, standard DJ crossfader, and then you have crossfader assigned, which is available on their high-end mixers, so you can set this to be A side, B side, or in the through position if you're like me and you use up faders and you don't use the crossfader unless you're mixing video. Other thing to note that this is Serato video compatible, and this crossfader is assigned to the video crossfader. So when you blend from A to B, B to A, it is going to mix the video also. Everything in the software is also MIDI assignable, so this is a full MIDI controller in addition to being designed and set up for Serato DJ. So let's go ahead and take a look here at one of the decks. New Jog Wheel Design. It's 5 3/4 inches in diameter. It's based on capacitive touch technology. So rather than it being a pressure-sensitive platter like the CDJ 2000 and 900 have,
I could breathe on the track.
so that's if I touch the top section here, and you can see the finish on it. If I use the outside edge, that's pitch bending and fine-tune adjustment, very similar to the other CDJ models out there. It's got the display in the center, and if we go ahead and just eject the track, you'll see that it's a familiar graphical design based on the way Pioneer loads its tracks up, just like a CDJ 2000. So some of this LED animation in the center is there as well. It has visual marker. So that does show you visual marker for track position as well. Tempo adjustment, so it's plus and minus there. It's a nice little notch in the center. You can set your tempo range from the software. Vinyl mode, which was in vinyl mode just a moment ago, I can take it out of vinyl mode. And now I'm just using the platter to have fine pitch adjustments. Put it back in vinyl mode. As you see here, it has needle search, which is a feature that was previously only available on the CDJ 2000. It's really nice. It gives you the ability to fast scrub through your track. It's accurate, it's quick. Let's go down the side here. This button, panel select, is actually a really cool feature, and when you press it, it scrolls through on the software. So I can press panel select and switch between the sampled player, the SP6. This is regular view, record view, so that has the recorder up. Let's go ahead and actually turn the prepare deck off. So you can see the record function. There's the effects decks for FX1 and FX2, and then the SP6. If I had the video plugin activated, which I don't, we're going to show that in another video. The video tab would be activated. It would show that preview that's available when Serato Video is plugged into Scratch Live. Going down the side here, these are your beat grid adjustments. Again, another video. Beat grid. Sensor button's a really nice thing to have. Let's say you get to something that just doesn't sound quite right. When you press sensor, it's going to reverse that F-bomb that you don't want to drop at the wedding or the quinceañera, and then it's going to take off where it left off. So it's kind of like slip mode, but it's just designed to censor that out. You can see here this is a 4-deck controller, so right now I have deck 1 activated. I can switch over to deck 3. I've got the software in 2-deck mode. I'll show you briefly what 4-deck mode looks like. 4 is pretty busy with vertical waveforms, so if you switch it over to horizontal, it's a little more manageable. So as you can see here, it's highlighted. Deck 3 actually has the active deck ring around it. Switches over to 1. There's a feature on the DDJ-SX which is new that's a dual deck control, and when I press this, as you can see, it lights up both. It's in dual deck. Whatever I do to the platter on deck A is going to be that way on deck 3. Let's load a track in there. You can see I've got both decks on. So here's the shift button. One of these is available on each one of the left and right decks. What shift gives you the ability to do is access things that are secondary commands. Some of them are highlighted in white. Here is like the reverse functionality. It can also be used to delete a hot cue. Let's say I've got a cue point set but I don't like it. I just press shift and tap on the hot. Now I've set one I like. Don't want them both, clear them out. You could set 8 hot cues. I don't like any of those. Hold down shift, you can clear them all out. The sync command, and we're going to touch on the sync in a whole different video. That's going to be a completely separate video all by itself. But let's you set the sync and the master sync for each one of the decks, and you set master and sync by pressing this. There's also a sync button on the right deck. The SX has standard play, pause, and cue controls that are found on just about any Pioneer controller out there. set a nice little cue point. You see in the SX software that white cue point's there, which is basically a temporary cue point that you can set by pressing Q. Nice thing is you can use this to intro a song in. If you're mixing, let's say you like where that sounds, you've made a couple of adjustments, you can press play, and then the track's going to take off from there. So nice little feature, nice little trick. Some people don't know that exists actually. Going down the right side of the deck, there's a couple different jog modes. We went over that. Here's where you activate key lock. By turning that on, what key lock does is prevent you from having Barry White or Alvin and the Chipmunks. We've covered that in a number of different videos, but that's how you turn the key lock on and off. You can see here it says tempo range, and we were just discussing the ability to hit those shifted functions. If you take a look at the screen, it's going to show you the pitch range is plus and minus 8. If I hold down shift, it changes to plus minus 16, plus and minus 50, and then back to 8. So that's how you change your pitch range. And then down here on the bottom is the entire looping section, and short of what you can do with the pads, loop is there also, and you can see there's auto loop, and let's just go ahead and start it up. So you can manually punch in and out a loop. You can manually edit and the in and out points using the jog wheel. You can see how that goes in and out. In case you probably hit one on the end, you can edit the in and out. The in is also. You can chop loops up here using the half times or 2 times. Now, you can also turn on auto loop, and if you look here on the software, there's this grid right here, and auto loop so it's highlighted. So you can basically say, oh, I want to grab an 8 count loop. So I use the the loop shifting buttons here, the half and the times 2. Pick a nice little 4 count loop. So you can use that to get in and out of your track, and that's easily accessible through the loop in and out. So let's talk about the pads, because that's important. There's a lot going on here. Charlotte DJ gives you 8 cue points and 8 pads to correspond with those cue points. So let's actually put the software back in 2-deck mode, because I want you to be able to see this well. So if you see here, there's, I'm in like a mixed section of how this is going to show up. I could choose it so it actually would show all 8 of my cue points, all 8 of my saved loops, or this actually gives you a combination of the 2. It shows you your first 4 saved loops, and then your first 4 saved, first 4 saved cue points, and then 4 saved loops. So that's the setting that's in the software that leaves these loops and cue points visible. Different pad modes. So like I said, you've got 8 hot cues, then the roll mode, and there's visual indications on the screen. There's 2 more modes on the pad. I don't have any samples loaded up for this video, so we're not even going to cover the sampler this time. And then the slicer is designed if you have a beat grid set up on a track. And again, we're going to go over this beat gridding and the slicer in a whole separate video, but these are the 4 modes that are available for the pads. These are velocity sensitive pads, so for some effects, some configurations, the harder you touch the pad, the more it reacts, the more it does. So that's the deck section. Let's go ahead and we'll take a brief pause here, and we're going to go over the front panel and the back panel of the SX. So go ahead and get it powered off and disconnected so we can look at it up close. So this is the front panel of the DDJ-SX. It's nice gloss finish. Headphone input is here, 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. As I mentioned before, that the level input for your headphones here. This is a recessible button. And then you have input selects for channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. PC being the Serato DJ software input. And then phone over line, Your microphone, mic 1, is on channel 3, so you just switch it over to mic. We're going to show you the back panel in just a moment. Mic 2 is over here on channel 4. Again, we'll show you the back in a moment. You have Crossfader Curve control, from a nice mellow, gentle curve to a really steep curve. And that's also a recessible button. And this is your touch sensitivity control for both the left and the right deck, and that determines how much sensitivity is on that capacitive deck. So there's fine-tuning adjustments right there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back. So this is the back panel of the DDJ-SX DC in with the included power supply that is required to use the controller. It will not run off of bus power. Little cable lock here so you can plug it in and then run that AC cord under there, and that way you're not going to have that thing accidentally get unplugged. On and off power switch, which is recessed, so it definitely will reduce the likelihood of that getting accidentally turned off mid-set. It's got that bright orange locking USB port. Way to go, Pioneer, way to jump on that. These, in my opinion, should be built in. These should be protocol as far as any piece of DJ equipment, and then it also has a Kensington lock. So here's your master output section. It is balanced outs, XLR outs. Get a pair of those. A pair of secondary outputs that you could send off to another device that are RCA. And that does have booth outs. If you see right here, tip ring sleeve, TRS, so they're balanced 1/4 inch outputs for that separate booth out, super important. And these are your inputs right here. You've got a nice grounding screw in the middle in case you want to hook turntables up to it. Here's your phono line input. CD, and as I mentioned, mic 2, and then mic 1. Mic 1 is a combo XLR 1/4 inch. Mic 2 is a 1/4 inch unbalanced jack. That's the back panel. So I want to briefly touch on 3 frequently asked questions that have come up since the announcement of this controller. First thing, EQs, are they infinite? Yes, it's infinite kills. We showed you that earlier in the video. 2 is loop on and off. If I engage the loop, is it going to jump to that point in the track? And the answer is no, which is awesome. So guys who set a rescue out or a mix out at the end of a track, you want to have that ability to turn that loop on and not have to think about it as you're mixing, because you know when you hit down to that loop, it's going to give you that loop out and you're going to be able to continue on with your mix. And your thought process, you're not going to have to sit there and remember, am I going to have to hit an auto loop down there so I can set this loop so I can get out of the track? It's already going to be ready to go. So there's things that you can do to prepare and get to that point where you're into that next song and you're ready to go. It tightens up your mix. So let's go ahead and take a look at actually what it looks like. If you look here on the screen and you can see it dimly, there is a loop that's set there. And it's not activated. So as I'm playing along on the track, normally I would actually get to that loop point and it would go right on by it. So what I can do is press Shift and then loop activate is what I'm turning on. When I do that, now you can see that the loop is highlighted. So what happens when I get to that point in the track, you can see it's highlighted white. So what I want to show is that, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the track, I'm going to turn the loop off. So normally on another controller, if I pressed loop on, it would jump to the loop. But I'm going to press it, and I can just activate the loop. As you can see, it's not jumping to that point. So loop's on, you get down to that point in the track. And it's going to catch in that emergency out. Which for a lot of DJs, that's exactly what they want it to do. So to answer that question, can I turn on a loop? Can I turn on a saved loop? You sure can, and it's not going to jump to that point. So great question answered. And the last one, yes, it's a 4-channel mixer. Yes, it has CD inputs. Yes, it has turntable inputs. Will it work with Scratch Live? Well, not directly, obviously. You can't plug turntables or CD players into it and use timecode to control the DJ software. That's a Scratch Live only thing. Another person asked, well, you take a Serato box and can I plug into it? Sure, I suppose you could, and use it at the same time as DJ. That was the other thing he asked. Sure, you could hook up an SL3 or a 2 or a 4 to this and have external inputs, and I suppose you could run Scratch Live on the same computer if it's capable of running 2 pretty intensive pieces of software at the same time. Practical purposes, probably not, especially since the Serato DJ software is incredibly advanced. You've got a great controller built on the Pioneer and the Serato partnership here. Why would you? So Sure, you could, but I guess the more important question would be why. So hopefully that answers those three important questions that have been asked along the way since the product has been announced. So thanks for watching our first of many videos on the Pioneer DDJ-SX Serato DJ controller. That was just an overview. We're going to cover the effects, the beat gridding, some other questions that I'm sure we're going to get along the way, and as everybody knows by our videos, we're happy to answer those questions. We really appreciate you watching today. We really appreciate you checking out our company. AGI Pro DJ is an authorized Pioneer dealer, and we're proud to be one. We're super excited about this product. We know everybody else is too. This thing is incredible, and it's an industry changer. The software is an industry changer, and the partnership between these two companies is incredible. The buzz around this is huge. This is going to be the product for the holiday season 2012. Mark my words. For those of you who have pre-ordered with us and are getting your units, we really appreciate your pre-orders. And for those of you who are thinking about picking one up, make sure you turn to AGI Pro DJ for your DJ gear. We're authorized dealers. We're DJs just like you. We put these videos out. We're happy to help you guys out. We're easy to get to. We got a toll-free number. We've got email, 866-776-6499. You can email us, sales@agiprodj.com. We're available during business hours on Instant Messenger. We're here, guys, to help you guys out. We really appreciate you watching today. Pioneer DDJ-SX, Serato DJ software. And I'm DJ Ty from agiprodj.com. Thanks so much for checking us out today.